Peace, family, and welcome to this edition of the Reading and Writing in the Dark podcast. I'm Iyapo, and I'm the author of Melanin, a novel. That's my first novel. And I'm also the author of the Keeping It a Buck series on Amazon. That's a series of 10 short stories, each of them different, but all of them in the realm of theoretical and fiction. And those stories are going to be compiled into a single anthology book called Paradigm Void. And Paradigm Void will have those 10 Keeping It a Buck stories in addition to one never before published bonus story. Each story is $1 on Amazon, and if you have you want just a quick read, something that's really interesting, you're sitting in a waiting room somewhere or you're about to go to sleep or whatever, and you just want to have something nice and fast to read, just grab one of the Keeping It a Buck stories. And like I said, they're all different. They all have different tones, and it's like watching one of these anthology shows where the show is one thing, but each of the stories is a totally different story, totally different actors, totally different director, and so on. So you never know what to expect. Along with that, I have my Kindle Vella series, Surviving the Worst. Surviving the Worst is like nothing you've ever read before, I guarantee it. And it's sci-fi, it's horror, it's mystery, it's a little romance even. It's a really, really good story. It's a complex story. And the Kindle Vella platform is one where writers write short stories. And when I say short, I mean like microfiction. But they're based on an ongoing storyline, as if you're watching episodes of a television show. And so that's the way that they're placed in there, is in episodes. Right now, the Surviving the Worst is up to, I think, episode 21. And it is really something. It's really, even if I do say so myself, it's really, really a good story. And you can read that also on Amazon. It is Kindle Vella. And what I'm really excited about and what I'm here to talk to you about today is my new release, And What of the Cargo. And What of the Cargo is my second novel, and it is my first foray into the horror and suspense genre. And even at the very beginning of the book, I do an essay on exactly what is horror, what is it that we consider horror as black people. And a lot of people say that they get a lot out of that essay. That essay can also be found on my blog, by the way, on my site, iyapoyapa.com. And and I think I even have a reprint of that in the Reading and Writing in the Dark newsletter. If you aren't getting the Reading and Writing in the Dark newsletter, I don't know why you're not. It is 100% free. All the back issues of it are free. And they have information always of what I'm presently working on and my future projects, in addition to the works of other authors. Just give them a shout out and a link to their work. And it also has like crossword puzzles and word searches. I mean, it's a nice newsletter. I like to do everything as nice as I can, because as far as I'm concerned, it's for my people, and I always want to give 100% for my people, period. So that's what I do. So anyway, And What of the Cargo is out. It's available on Amazon. You can get it for the Kindle. And just keep in mind, I'm surprised how many people don't know this, but you don't need a Kindle or a Nook to read Kindle or Nook content. You can download for free the Kindle app or the Nook app for at the like an Android store or at the Apple store, and they're free apps. And then that makes it so that you can read Kindle and Nook content. So anyway, it's available for the Kindle, and it is also available in paperback and hardback editions, and soon to come it will be available as a audiobook. I have a sample of an audiobook that I've been working on, read by me, and it's one of the Keeping It a Buck stories called Scars, and you can find that on my website. It's buried a little bit, and it's only because it's a sample, and just me figuring out how I want to do this and how I want it to sound and what to do with it. But I do have it available for people to hear. If you want to hear it, then I'll provide a link, and if I forget to provide the link, then you can go to my site and go to Books by Iyapo, and then scroll down once you get to my books, and you'll see a picture of me sitting in a chair reading Melon. Click on that, and then it takes you to another page, and that page will open up into I know my wife tells me all the time, anyway, you click on that page and it opens up into where I have other writings of mine, in addition to the story I illustrated for TJ Riley in her book The Money Tree, also available on Amazon. But click on the Keeping It a Buck series, then scroll down when you get to the page of the Keeping It a Buck series, and that's where the link to Scars is. So yeah, I have it buried pretty deep in there. My wife is constantly talking to me about how I'm not going to say, because the site isn't hard to navigate, but you do have to have a little patience with it as far as going to different places on it, because there's a lot on my site. My music is on there, my art is on there, my writing is on there, upcoming things, there's a lot going on. Registering for the newsletter is on it, and that's pretty easy. If you go straight to and again, I apologize, I know I'm all over the place, but again, if you go to the site, iyapo.com, on the very front page, there's like this big button that says register or subscribe to the Reading and Writing in the Dark newsletter. You just click on that and enter your name and your email address, and it sends you an email link that gives you access to all the newsletters. And in addition to that, as a thank you for subscribing, you also get a free download of Moanesis the Oak Tree, which is a very well-reviewed story of mine. It's a short story, and everyone who has read it, and I mean everyone, and a lot of people have read it, said that it's just like one of the most awesome things that they've ever read. So, that's just a way of saying thank you for subscribing to the newsletter. Anyway, back to And What of the Cargo. It was released on Wednesday. It remained at number one as a number one bestseller in new Black and African American horror, and it was up there from Wednesday through Sunday. This morning, I see that it finally has been unseated from the number one position, but it can easily go right back to it. If it goes back to it today, then I'm going to just carry on and say that, it's still number one and running. And What of the Cargo, like I said, is horror. The story centers around the ancestors who perished at sea, whether they were murdered and thrown overboard, or because of the conditions, which equates to murder, and then they were just thrown overboard, or if they jumped overboard themselves and they perished in the ocean. What happens is that the spirits of these ancestors start taking over these cruise ships, and chaos, of course, ensues, and they make demands. They demand that their remains be returned to the continent. But it's much more involved in that. The prologue, admittedly, is extremely hard to work through when you're reading it, and I'm just giving fair warning. That's part of my writing style. I discussed it with my wife. I'm like, that's just my writing style. Is that I put a lot of brutality up front, and then it kind of smooths out after that. But this is a horror novel, so it doesn't smooth out too much. But the prologue is extremely brutal, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But once you get through that prologue, and the prologue is very necessary to setting up the story, then the rest of it just pretty much flows. There are some people who read it said it didn't really bother them too much, but there's some people who read it and say, yeah, it was hard for me to push through because of what was happening. So anyway, the book does go and take turns that are totally unexpected. And I guess that's all I'll say about it. It's really a good read. Everyone who's read it that I've talked to said that it's an excellent book, and would recommend it to anyone. And I know that that's kind of self-serving for me to say it, but it's just how it is, and I'm the one talking. So anyway, that's And What of the Cargo. So that is available on Amazon in the formats that I've mentioned. For Kindle, the softcover and the hardcover versions are available. The same thing for Melanin, my debut novel, that has gotten good reviews, and people are enjoying that. And then there's the Keeping of the Buck series, $1 a story, quick reads for if you're just hanging out. And finally, Surviving the Worst, my episodic story. I think you'll really enjoy that also. So anyway, that's that. Be sure and visit iyapo.com and take the time to go through the site. Yeah, it's a thick site. It has a lot going on. It's a deep site, but you'll really enjoy yourself once you get there. And there's a lot to see and a lot to experience. So go there and experience that. And also, again, be sure to register for the Reading and Writing in the Dark newsletter. You'll be glad you did. So having said all that, thank you so much for your time and for listening. Thank you to everyone who's been reading my work and commenting and subscribing to the newsletter, just everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time, this is Iyapo Yapa, and I'm just saying, if you are a reader, keep on reading. And if you're a writer, keep on writing. Peace.